It feels like we've been here before. And honestly, that might be the most exhausting part of this whole thing. You sit down, you watch the Cowboys lose another game that never felt completely out of reach, and by the time it's over, you're not even shocked anymore. You're just tired. The Week 16 loss to the Chargers wasn't just another mark in the loss column. It felt like another reminder that the season followed a painfully familiar script, and no amount of post-game optimism can really change that feeling. We were told it was a tale of two halves, that the offense looked sharp early, that the defense supposedly settled in later. But when you really think back on what you watched, it doesn't fully add up. The Chargers controlled the game when it mattered. They dictated tempo, stayed on the field, and did exactly what good teams do when the other side can't consistently get stops. That's not bad luck. That's not a fluke. That's structure beating inconsistency. And Cowboys fans have seen that movie too many times. Here's where frustration really starts to boil. When leadership talks after the game, the tone feels disconnected from the product on the field. You hear about disappointment, optimism, positives to carry forward. Maybe that works in a press conference. But when this team is already eliminated and staring down another season without playoff football, fans aren't looking for silver linings. They're looking for accountability. Ask yourself honestly, while you were watching that game, did you ever feel confident the Cowboys were in control? Or did it feel like one of those nights where everything had to go perfectly just to stay close? That gap is what people are reacting to. Not effort, not injuries. The constant feeling that this team has no margin for error, while the teams they play feel comfortable executing their game plan. When Jerry Jones steps up to the mic after a loss like that, you can almost feel the room brace itself. Not because anyone expects fireworks, but because fans are listening for one thing: honesty. Not the polished kind, not the hopeful kind, the kind that actually acknowledges where this team is. What we got after the Chargers game felt like classic Jerry. Thoughtful on the surface, optimistic underneath, and just vague enough to leave everyone arguing about what it really means. He sounded genuinely disappointed. He mentioned the fans, the season ending the wrong way at home, and expectations not being met. That matters. But almost immediately, the conversation drifted toward positives and carrying things forward. When you miss the playoffs again, fans aren't wondering whether there were good plays. They're wondering why the same structural problems keep showing up. Jerry used the word underachieved, and that word matters because it implies talent existed and results didn't match. But when everyone underachieves, where does the responsibility actually land? Because when everyone is responsible, no one really is. That's been a recurring theme in this era of Cowboys football. Broad accountability without sharp consequences. One of the more notable moments was Jerry doubling down on optimism about Dak Prescott. He praised Dak's play and made it clear he views the quarterback position as a strength. Most fans would agree with that. Dak isn't the core issue, but that almost makes everything else harder to excuse. If the quarterback box is checked, the margin for error everywhere else shrinks. There's less patience for defensive collapses, inconsistent protection, and game plans that don't hold together for 4 quarters. Jerry also leaned into continuity, and that's a double-edged sword. Continuity is powerful when it comes with progress. Continuity without results starts to sound like comfort. He admitted the defense has lacked continuity in recent years, which is fair. But he also said continuity only matters if you have the right people in place. That sounds like evaluation is happening, or at least being considered. So here's the real question for you. When you listen to Jerry, did it sound like a man preparing to make hard decisions, or a man trying to make peace with how things unfolded? Drop your honest take in the comments, because fans hear those same words very differently depending on how much trust they still have. Now let's dig into the defense, because that's where the careful language really intensifies. Moving the defensive coordinator to the booth was supposed to change something. Better vision, better communication. But the results didn't show a meaningful shift. The Chargers still ran the ball when they needed to. They still converted third downs. They still controlled time of possession. And most importantly, the Cowboys still couldn't consistently affect the quarterback. That's been a theme all season, regardless of who's calling the plays or where they're standing. When Jerry was asked about evaluating the defensive staff, his answer was telling, not a dismissal. not a full endorsement. Framed as part of a larger review of the year, reasonable on the surface, but familiar enough to worry fans who've been waiting for sharp decisions. Post-game answers from the coaching staff didn't calm anyone either. They circled back to time of possession, penalties, and how tough the opposing quarterback is. Some of that is fair, but explanations start to feel like insulation when they repeat. The Cowboys didn't just struggle in one area. They struggled in ways we've seen repeatedly. Poor run fits, limited pressure, long drives that wear the defense down. When those patterns repeat, they stop being situational. They become identity issues. So I've got to ask you straight. Based on everything you've seen and heard, do you believe this defensive direction should continue next season? Yes or no? Drop your vote in the comments, because that answer says a lot about where your trust level is right now. If you're frustrated by how the defense gets explained week after week, hit like. And if you haven't already, subscribe, because the off-season is where these decisions are going to matter most. Now, let's talk about the offensive line, because this is where a lot of fans really started scratching their heads. The shifting pieces, the timelines that don't quite line up, and the messaging around it all. On the surface, the logic makes sense. Short weeks, protecting the quarterback, guys working their way back. But then you hear one plan described as permanent, while another player is supposedly not done for the year. Those two ideas don't naturally coexist, and that's where trust starts to wobble. Remember how this offense looked earlier in the season when the line was intact. Cleaner pockets, better rhythm, sustainable drives. Since then, that consistency vanished. One player doesn't fix everything, but it does make fans question why the solution feels like removing options instead of creating them. Coaches talk about versatility and flexibility, and that's not crazy. But football isn't just logic. It's clarity. Players need it. Fans need it. Right now. The explanation feels stretched to cover a decision that might not be as settled as it's being presented. All of this folds into a bigger question about leadership and direction. Earlier in the season, a lot of fans connected with the tone coming out of the building. It felt authentic, direct, willing to call things as they were. Lately, that edge feels dulled. Instead of sharp accountability, we're getting careful language, praise for effort, respect for opponents, and explanations that spread responsibility across the entire operation. None of that is wrong by itself, but when results don't change, it wears thin. This moment is bigger than one loss. The season is essentially decided, but evaluation is already underway. How coaches and executives speak now sends signals about urgency, accountability, and whether comfort has crept in. Cowboys fans know the history. They know the legacy. This is a franchise that once set the standard, that carries the weight of expectations every single year. That's why the frustration cuts so deep. So I'll leave you with this. Are you still fully in on the current direction, or are doubts starting to settle in? Be honest in the comments. There are no wrong answers, because this is exactly the conversation the fan base is having right now. If this breakdown helped you get your thoughts in order, hit like. If you want to stay plugged in as the off-season questions start flying, subscribe and turn notifications on, because every decision from here on out is going to shape what comes next.